Hello everyone, I'm Shiv Mathur and now I am kind of trying to cover up some more topics, a little more than the core topic of spirituality, meditation and meeting the Himalayan yogis. So on my channel I have these videos. Now I am trying to diversify to cover related topics also, which is like social issues. So like I just made a video on leadership. So my present now this video is going to be about feminism. Feminism is a new norm of the modern society, and I'll also bring out mention that I have written a book 2 years back. I had written 3 books. So one was on meditation, one was on meeting the Himalayan yogis and about life in ashrams, especially in Rishikesh. And the third book which I decided to write, which I had not planned, was on social issues. So I've covered many aspects of social problems the societies now come up with. They've conceptualized different narratives and norms. So feminism is one of the norm which is right now running in the modern society. And I would recommend that you read the book Social Issues. It will really tell you. And also if you read the book on meditation, if you read both the books, it will give you full clarity of what is happening in the society and where are you going wrong and what can you do to make your life good. It's no, you can't change the society. But these 2 books are, giving direction, giving clarity to what's happening in the society. So coming back to feminism, feminism is a very sensitive topic. There are many sensitive topics these days because all these narratives and norms are actually dividing the society. And if you read my book, because I can't explain everything in this through this video, what is the basis, what is the origin of feminism. So most of the social problems, I will say, are basically an outcome of capitalism, consumerism. And what is capitalism? Capitalism covers a whole lot of area in the society now, and it's a greed. And the capitalism, the trigger of capitalism is from the syndicate who control the world. So there is a very small percentage of population, some those elites of the society in the world. They are controlling the world and they are the driver of capitalism actually, and they are controlling whatever is happening in the world, be it these wars or be it this. So it's all driven by greed, lust, power, fame, and now it's become like a psychic problem. These elites are, if you hear about these Epstein case, pedophiles, human child trafficking, which is so prominent in America. So what is America? Where has America reached? Child trafficking, pornography, these are all gifts of American society and all based on extreme materialism driven through capitalists in the society, how they influence the society, how they create narratives, how they create perception, how do they market, how do they push a way of living in the society, and how they create change the perceptions and thoughts and through these narratives, so that their capitalist, their vested interests are met actually. So these are the triggers and these are the people who are behind all this. So we will not get into that. So one of the thing which has been now created is feminism. The traditional society is actually broken up. And before I will finally come to feminism, I'll just talk about few things which will keep coming in my mind. I will just keep talking about that. So they've broken up the traditional society, and today there is, people say, oh, you are, that's our old thought, old school of thought, and this is the modern. So modern is considered to be good and old is considered to be bad. Whatever was traditional and old, they will say, oh, especially the women, oh, you are talking about, you are outdated, you are narrow minded, you are this, and they try to put you down. But when you ask them pinpoint questions, what is wrong in this, and then when you counter them, then they have no answers, then they accept it. So that's the problem. And these narratives are created, and the people, for they're opportunistic. People for their own selfish benefits, they ride on these narratives, and they will create. They will talk, and they will push all those people behind who will talk about the traditional value system, human value system, social system which was pretty stable and quite good. Like there are always flaws, but for those flaws you don't change the whole system. You can fix those flaws. Like women liberation, I will say women liberation was created for the underprivileged, those in the traditional system there were flaws because of the men did something like which is not as per the social system. So they were misusing the social system. So women were subjected to all kind of things in the society. So there are that section of society, those are the women who needed liberation actually. But what has happened, that liberation has been taken away by all the modern women who are living a very good life. They don't need any liberation, but they are using that to further liberate them from their basic responsibilities of being a woman, of being a wife, or being a mother, or being a daughter. So they are trying to live a life as per their free will. In social system, you can't just have free will. You can have a free will if you are living alone in the society, but when you are in a society, there have to be certain rules. There has to be certain set of rules. There has to be a kind of a constitution which will only govern and make the working of a family perfect. So based on that, and also this traditional system was based on the base inherent characteristics of each individual, like woman and man. So women have certain characteristics. They were best suited to look after the house, and men was best suited to take care of the external needs, go out to earn feed the breadwinner, or get the resources for the family, and the wife will integrate those resources and run the family. So together, and it was not now this new another narrative is that what the lady is doing is not good. This is not good. If brooming and sweeping and all is not good. I clean my house, I do brooming, I do swapping, I do cleaning of utensils. I enjoy it, and like right now I'm sitting and I cleaned the house today morning, and it's sparkling and it gives a great feeling, and it's a good exercise. If I'm sitting in the house, I don't have to go for a walk. It takes me 2 hours to clean the house, dusting and all. It's a big house, so I feel a little warmed up. So this is not bad. Doing household job is not bad. And the man, you think if he's doing something great, he's going through his own struggles in his professional life, managing politics and all kind of things. So the world outside is not good, and even when women go to work, the way they are treated is very different from the way the man is treated. Like I had teams in which in my team there are women and men both. So when you have more women, it's a challenge, because you can't be very harsh to them, and you can't you have to be also sympathetic towards their family responsibilities. So somebody wants to come late because they have a small child, they have to feed the child. So man cannot feed the child, woman has to feed the child. God made it like that. If you have a problem, if you want equality at that level, go and complain to God. But equality, there you can't have an apple to apple comparison of men and women. The equality is, there has to be equality. What is equality? Equality is mutual respect. We both are equal. What you do is equally important. What man is doing is also equally important. Both are two wheels of a bike, and a bike cannot run without one wheel, and even one wheel cannot run slow, and so both the wheels have to run at the same speed. So they are basically, it's like putting same amount of effort. There should not be any comparison that I am doing this and I am doing this. Based on inherent characteristics, inherent nature of a species, women and men, these tasks have been defined. You think a man can really work like a woman can really work like a man outside? She can handle everything what a man is supposed to handle. Does her work really works like a man? Man has a different way of working. Man has a different way of thinking. Women are more emotional. Men are more practical. They are tuned to that way of living. They're tuned to handle those things which a woman will not be tuned. Woman will actually struggle when she tries to take over a man's job. So I'll come to those things later on, how it happens, how the woman struggles later on, how do they realize later on. So equality is in terms of respect. Both have to understand that both have an equally important task. There's a girl who told that I'm educated. So there was a discussion happening. It happened with a couple of people, I think. Now the girl is asking that I'm educated and why shouldn't I work? And she also wants to get married. And yeah, marriage, people have to marry. This society is made to run like that. But now you also want to work because you're educated. Now every girl is educated. They want to work. But have you really thought? And this whole idea of working, a woman working, is coming out of insecurity now, because this separations have become a norm. So now every girl thinks that she should be independent and self-sufficient if the need be. If something happens, if they separate, then she should be able to fend for herself, because obviously when separations happened earlier and women were not capable or not, so they struggled financially and in the life. So those were the challenges they faced. So these things came up. Now why? Because obviously men had their own issues. Men were mean, and so that's a different topic. I am not covering about that right now, how this thing started. So when something leads to something leads to something happens, you create some laws, but then they get misused, and then this party misuses. So nobody is fair actually. So in this unfair world in Kali Yuga, people are opportunistic, and men have been mean. So now women are becoming mean, but that doesn't become So somewhere we have to sit together and understand what is our role in the society. This kind of education is needed, so that the men is also within the limits, women are also within the limits. And how the society is gone, so it is allowed unknowingly men and women to behave in a certain way, breaking these norms. So it is not that I'm not blaming any woman or a man why they behave like this. The society has become soft. This consumerism and capitalism, they are the real culprit. So they have created certain norms and perceptions, and the society starts following that. There's a rat race, and in that rat race we start breaking the norms, don't realize, and we break up those traditional value system. And slowly, as we go in the life, we fall into those traps unknowingly. So I am not blaming any individual. It's, you see the trigger, the real responsibility, people responsible behind all this is the capitalists, that syndicate, the elites, also the greed and the lust and power. So it is the politicians who are driving these narratives. They want to rule the world. The basic, the main way of strategy these people employ, even in organizations, is divide and rule. So today the top wants to divide the society so that they are fighting among themselves. They have created such a divide strategically that everybody is fighting. So today the families are split to that extent that even the husband and wife are split. So they are all fighting. The whole world is fighting. So they can rule. But this narrative finally takes on them also, catches them also. Now they are also fighting. So there is a constant fight to take control over each other. So ultimately you see what's happening in the world. It's all aggression. There's no love left. It's only aggression everywhere. There's a lot of friction, and there's a constant friction. So this is outcome of capitalism, and that's a different topic now. So I asked that girl that if you feel I told her my understanding is you get educated because you become knowledgeable. The whole idea of education is not just job, but you become knowledgeable. You have a way of interacting. You are in a modern world. Your husband is knowledgeable, educated, he is working. But tell me, who will look after children? You think you will put them in the play school, then you will employ some housemates, and how will you bring up? Because job is also taking you away from your family. You are not probably with your parents, and also a lot of people don't want to live with their parents. They feel their freedom is hampered. The wife will feel the in-laws should not be there. The man will feel probably his in-laws should not be there, because mutually they feel that the freedom will be hampered. So they also get drifted into this direction. Western society, parents don't live with the children, so that's already broken. But India also, it's gradually going there. So if you really think, what is your main responsibility as a wife? When you got educated, now you want to get married also. If you don't want to get married, go ahead and do. Exercise your free will. Nobody is going to stop you. But tell me a single woman or a single man who will say that I don't want to get married. They want partner. I mean, now this terms partner and boyfriend, and I don't want to consider that. I'm talking about only marriage. People should get married. Ultimately, they all want to get married. But due to certain constraint, now they have coined these terms, and for the convenience, for all the limitations they've imposed, self-imposed, we have these kind of norms. But ultimately, every girl wants to be with a man. I will not say now marriage and partner and boyfriend. Every girl or every man wants to be with a man and woman. So there is no compromise there. A lot of men or a lot of women, especially women, will say, we are independent, we are strong, independent women. This word is very much used when they break up and they say, we are strong and independent women. But inherently, we are, by intrinsic nature of women or man is such that they are codependent. They are God created. Otherwise, God would have not really created two. God would have just created one species. I don't know what he would have named them, but he created two, and both have some intrinsic qualities, and based on that, they are mutually dependent. So they can't be independent. God himself is not. God has not created them different. So together they have to work as a, So it's a family which had a social identity. Now today what is happening is woman wants her own identity, man has an identity, woman wants her own identity, everybody wants their own identity, everybody has their own car now. Woman wants her car, man wants a car. A long time back, people didn't even have phones that time, even a landline phone. A letter used to come and everybody in the house will read the letter, It was addressed to like everyone. So some relatives writes a letter and we all read it. There was nothing like personal. Then the phone came, a phone rings, a landline rings, somebody picks up and you talk. Whoever picks up talks. And even if somebody wants to talk to somebody else so it was not a phone was not a personal thing. It was a family thing. Letter was a family thing. Now what has happened? Now we have WhatsApp. People are slyly chatting with somebody now, and even with this digital social media, now people are connected to people whom they don't know, and slowly, it leads to some immorality. Unknowingly, I won't say knowingly, but unknowingly it does lead to so each individual has its own set of individual friends. Earlier, when I was a child, all the socializing used to happen between families only, and there were certain norms. So it was all family level socializing, family identity. It was family identity. It was not the identity of a family was just not because of the man. It was woman, the wife and husband together. They had an identity. Because if you go for a social interaction, you don't go to a person's office to socially interact. The social interaction was at a personal level, and social interaction was home to home. So who is the home leader of home? Woman, wife. So it was whatever impression a person will gather. Like India had arranged marriages. So if you go to look for a girl, and then you go to meet a girl, you go to meet that family. So whatever impression you will carry is all 90% it is the ownership of the wife. Though men might be contributing, but the complete ownership goes to the credit goes to the wife, because she is the owner of the house. She is the owner of the house. A man is responsible for all outside stuff, but inside the house, mainly it is the wife. But again, for all critical decisions, all kind of external decisions, generally men used to have the last say. But there are many areas where wife has the last say. There are many areas where the husband has the last say. So in a family, there has to be somebody with a final authority. And like in a ship, suppose in the military, you have a unit. The commanding officer is the final authority. So there has to be some commanding officer, because then you can't have a democracy of and confusion and then aggression and fight. So there has to be somebody who takes a final decision. Like in the ship, commanding officer takes a decision. In the unit, in the military, the commanding officer is the final authority, and whatever decision he takes, wrong and right, it can be wrong. The training is such that you have to abide by that decision and you don't have to question it. And even if it goes wrong, you accept it because people will make mistake. It doesn't mean that a wife might have taken a right decision and the man would have taken a right decision. We go by that. We this is a unit. This is a unit, and there are certain rules. We just flow through that. We go through ups and downs. And today, what happens when you go through a down? Women tend to leave the men. I met this lady in Poland in ISKCON temple. We had this festival there and I was staying in the temple for a month, and when I went there were a 2-day festival which was an annual festival. Now this lady I was talking to, she had a child, and she said that I left my man. I said, why? He was not working. So he was not working, so I left him. He has a child. I think the boy was 6-7 year old. I don't remember. But the point is, if suppose your man loses a job and you are employed, so now man becomes a burden on you. You leave him. What about love? What was the marriage all about? So are you opportunistic? If you are not working, should the man not feed you? If you get this, so where is it feminism? Where is it equality? Now you're not exercising that equality. If your man has not working, and if you are working, so now you will not share with him your earnings. And that a man who shared everything, gave to the family, your earning is not for your family. I also know someone within my family who's been educated that a woman's income is for herself and the man's income is for the family. These kind of wrong education has been given, tutored, some people do that. So then you don't marry, then be yourself, but you are opportunistic. So coming to this equality and education, so I'm saying that education is for gaining knowledge. It doesn't really mean that you have to work. And also, I am not saying that don't work. You can see the possibility of work. You have to see your overall situation. Like my wife started working after my daughter had turned 2.5 years and she used to go to kindergarten school. My father was with me. So my father used to, though I told my wife that hold on, don't, but she was in a hurry to take up a job and she took up a job. But my father was there, so he used to drop my daughter and bring her. From 9 to 12 was a school, so right in front of my house. I was staying in the naval area in Bombay. So the house, the school, the kindergarten was right across in front of my building. So my father used to bring her, and my wife will be back by 2 o'clock. So the teaching job did not really impact so much bringing my daughter, and later on, luckily my daughter and my wife, they used to go to the same school. She was teaching in the same school for a couple of years, and then when my daughter came to 6th, she changed her school. So you have to see each situation, and like this group in Poland, there was a group called, I don't remember the group. So there was a discussion happening in that group that a lot of women have to give away their career because the husband's job is transferable. Now this was a group of diplomats. So I knew a lot of diplomats there, and now, like, your husband is a diplomat. He's in the embassy of so and so embassy. He's in a good job, making good money. So obviously his job takes priority. So if you're moving from this country now to Poland, who will leave a job? So who's actually solely responsible for main finance? So if the husband is mainly responsible and he is in a better job, so you have to leave your job. It's not a sacrifice. Why do you call it a sacrifice? That's what I'm saying. If two people working, and then there are cases when people they continue in their job, they don't go with each other. Now, is this life? I work here and you work there. Sometimes, due to some compulsion, a man has to go somewhere. If there is job issues and there's no choice, and then he goes for job. Sometimes a man has to travel and has to maybe live somewhere else. Those things happen, but it is man's responsibility. And then so every situation is different. But women trying to leave just for the sake of being working, not you work fine. If suppose a woman has a better job, suppose the woman and happens to be earning more than the man, then also she doesn't like it. She wants a man to be earning more. She wants her man to be doing better than much better. So if she has to take that role of man become the earner, she won't like it. I can tell you. Like I gave you an example. This man was not working in Poland. That lady said, I left him. He was not working. And did he intentionally give up his job, or he lost his job? So I have seen many other cases. The guy has left a job and now they're fighting, and the woman has found a job. It's easy for a woman to find a job these days because there are men sitting and they favor women. I'm telling you. I've been in the corporate for 16 years. So now the things are changing. The perception is changing because having women is becoming a problem actually, because they have all the limitations, and they can also blame you for harassment also. For nothing, for no reason, some out of the blue, women will come and blame you for harassment. So there are many problems which are coming with women working in the corporate now, and this field and everywhere. I think there will be a problem. So when you change, the point is when you modify the society, you don't make rules, and you just go by emotional. You make emotional rules which are all as per the free will. There are no set rules. Without set rules, you modify the society, it's bound to collapse. If you modify the society. So each situation in this modern world, we have to see what is your exact situation and how can you handle it. And I would say feminism is, you want to work, you say feminism, you say equality. Somebody told a very nice thing, like whatever you see in the streets, all these buildings and all has been made by men. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do heavy lifting? So there are so many things which men do. Men doesn't go and crib that I am unequal or I am doing more or I am doing less. They just do it. They just do it actually. So why should we even get into a comparison, less and low? Yeah, if there is something impartial happening in two, that's different. But there is no need to do a comparison. Both husband's role and a wife's role is very, very important. We have to understand our roles. What I'm saying, we have to understand our roles. We should not be opportunistic. What suits us, we come with equality and feminism. What doesn't suit us, we don't talk about that. Okay, we don't bring that into equality and feminism. We'll let it be with the man. But what suits us? So basically, you are trying to be running your life. A feminist is trying to run her life on whims and fancies. She wants total freedom, no rules, no responsibilities, no primary responsibility, doesn't want to understand responsibility, and want to be living a pampered life. Now I come to the upbringing. Why this is happening? Today's upbringings are very soft. Especially in an Indian context, I will say, when the woman got married, the mother-in-law kind of trained her. And this was then a narrative was created even through movies and all that. The mother-in-law was very harsh. But all the trainings are harsh. When you're being trained to do take on some responsibility. When you take on some responsibility, and if you're not being trained, then you have to be trained in this house. If you're not being trained by your mother, then mother-in-law will train. So there are many women who are already trained in their house by their parents, and when they get married, they take on the responsibility very well. They understand their responsibility very well. But if they are not trained, they've had a soft upbringing, and they attended parties and clubs, and they had a servant. They're not used to doing work. So when they suddenly take on getting married is a huge responsibility for both men and women. The man has to now, man is no longer a boy who's just living on father's money. So he has to now earn and he has to provide. He becomes a provider. Woman becomes a householder, and both are equally tough and important. And it can be monotonous for both. So both have their own set of challenges. So don't get into a comparison. This feminism will never work. So this being opportunistic. So soft upbringing for a woman can, she'll fall flat when she takes on this responsibility, and then they will start running away. People can't take the pressures if they had a soft upbringing. So this is a soft upbringing. Parents running after the children, being there all the time, will make the child fall flat. And when she takes on the responsibility, if she happens to get married, I can tell you, she will break it. She will break it. So you have to be trained to become a wife. There are certain responsibilities. Generally, man has no choice. Man doesn't cry about manism or like feminism. There is no manism. He has no choice. He doesn't talk about this. He just takes it. And if you feel the man is enjoying life in the work, when women go, then they realize. I know one woman who got separated when I was working in IBM. Husband and wife both were in IBM, and we were working in the same Vodafone account. Where the husband was a network architect, and she was into service management. Now, it's her words. She told that she used to fight with her husband before she got this job. She wasn't in IBM before, she was not working. Before she got this job, she used to say, I used to keep cursing him, keep nagging him, that why is he coming late or this and that. She always had issues. And though her husband was in a very challenging role, network architect for a Vodafone telecom company from IBM, and we were managing a Vodafone account. But she was from a softer skills. Service management was not that challenging, as it wasn't technical role, it was a service role. So then she told, when she joined and saw the challenges in the workplace, it was horrible. Vodafone, the customer for IBM, for us, was pretty bad customer and very harsh and rough. It was like a war all the time initially when we took over the contract. So she realized the challenges. She said, now I realize. But they had already split. Then he moved to US. He got a good job. He was a pretty qualified guy. She's alone. So she accepted. Now if you look at Nina Gupta, she was a big feminist. Now she's telling that now she's struggling. So now I'll come to another aspect of what happens when all these feminists, they feel that they'll become independent women, especially in the West. Because I was teaching in Europe and I have interacted with many women, and a lot have issues, especially relationship issues or separated. They all talk about being independent women, and I've seen how the graph goes from when they are in 30s and late 30s and 40s, how they suddenly become, the ego of feminist ego is there, and they all claim that they're independent and strong women. But I can tell you, if you have broken your relationship because of feminism, and because of your feminist ego and being opportunist, you cannot be strong independent woman. A woman will be strong and independent if she has been on the receiving end, the man has been not good. She'll come out strong. She'll become independent. She'll become strong. But a woman who has actually taken advantage of the situation for herself and separated, not met her responsibilities, and was on the other side, other kind of woman, she cannot be strong and independent. Those women who are subjected to some kind of torture and have gone through those things, they will come out strong and independent. They need help. They got marginalized. So there the male was bad in those cases. But now I'm talking about feminists. So those women were also not feminist. They were traditional also. But life is like that sometimes, So these feminist women who thought they will leave, like even the example of this woman in Poland I told you, who left her man because he was not working. I didn't probe more that, but there are many other cases I know where the men lost the job and the woman left. So when the times are bad, you leave your husband. So what the hell is this? So you don't understand what is marriage. Is it only just man is not an ATM machine? So when the woman goes into 35, 40, now I'm telling you, woman has certain limitation, and man is also have certain limitations. So what man doesn't have, a woman has. What woman doesn't have, a man have. That's why there's a marriage, and that's why you have to be together. It doesn't matter how much you are earning, what challenges you have in life, financial and social challenges. They will be there. They'll come or go, come and go. But this entity has to exist, and this is what is more important. It's not that the man is now not earning, and now the man is, somebody said and came, man is drinking. I said, why is he drinking? She had no answer. I said, what, have you really understood why he's drinking? So we only come and blame. There was one lady, she was divorced, and I was teaching her meditation class, and she came out of her depression, and then she started realizing her mistakes. So in the end, she was telling me the last time I met her, she said, before I was leaving, and they were leaving or I was leaving, something like that. She said, I want to meet you once. So I said, okay. So she said, I have gone through a lot of abuse. So I asked her one question. Did you also emotionally abuse your husband? She became quiet. I said, every woman who get divorced, or maybe in the case where husband divorces, they all say that we went through abuse. But they never say that did they also abuse a man. The man does gets physical. He can't be emotional, but the woman does emotional blackmail and emotional abuse, and they never accept that, and they never tell that. And there's nobody. And when you are giving a story, you should don't be alone to give a story. If you are really justified, sit together. In fact, I told her, bring your husband, I will fix your problem. No, they didn't do that. So I could have fixed her problem. She knew what she was wrong, but ego doesn't allow them. Another guy, I asked him, he had broken 2-3 relationships in Poland only. He was from, I don't want to tell more about him. He's a good friend of mine. I asked him that you lost your, you broke your partnerships, and do you feel that somewhere it was your ego which spoiled the relationship? He said, yes. I realized it later on. I said, why didn't you go back and fix it? Now he didn't do that because it's his ego. Because of ego, even we realize we don't want to accept it, and our ego is so high that despite realizing that you made some mistake in the relationships, you don't want to fix it. Now the problem is, the main core of the problem is all about feminism, is that the wife and husband should really understand what is their responsibility. And if you want to compromise with those responsibility, and if you want to say that husband should also share some load if both are working, now suppose, how can that be possible? It may be possible, may not be possible. Every situation has to be understood. Some people have their parents with them, they are able to do that, but the child is missing the motherly affection whole day, where the mother is never there. So you really want a child. You feel bringing up a child is not a responsibility, it's got no priority. You feel your job is more important than bringing up a child. Do you understand what is the fun in having a child and bringing up a child? In my understanding, the most beautiful thing one can have is upbringing of a child and being there with a child. This time will never come. Those 5, 10, 15 years, especially the first 10 years, are very crucial. And if in those 10 years you're not with your child, then what the hell are you doing? Don't marry. Such women should not marry if they are not ready. And why are they not ready? Because they had a soft upbringing. You were brought up in a very nice way. Are you not, you don't want to do the same thing? Are you not responsible to the society? We are living in the social system. We have to do these things. You have to take on the responsibilities. You have to understand what is your responsibility. You have to understand what is the prime responsibility, what are your priorities. The marriage is not a party that you not entered a alliance for having a great time and doing nothing, running away from your responsibility, having people to do everything yourself. Yeah, you can have people to help you. You can have household help, and whatever it is, wherever it is possible, but not necessarily. And like last 4-5 years, I don't feel that I should have household help. Like we can manage or on our. If we can manage the house on our own, why not manage it? And working hard, people cry, I'm tired. Oh, what's wrong? So you shouldn't be tired. When I go to play, I get tired. When I go to work, I get tired at times. Times you'll get tired. Why are you crying about it? That means you want an easy life. You think marriage is a party? I've seen people who are crying. I've seen women who have been crying. I'm tired whole day. I'm busy here and there. They make stories. But when I go and see them, they are actually just showing that they are busy. Frankly, they are doing nothing. I don't want to name that. The many women I know in my house whose husbands are doing very well. They have everything in the house, but they still cry that they're very busy. Oh, these are all your job. You don't have to cry about what you're doing. I think whatever I did in my life, I never cry about it. I struggled. I worked hard. I traveled a lot. I came late to the house at 1 o'clock in the night sometimes. I don't cry about it. I am doing it for my family. So if you are doing something sometimes, like there are women, if there is no maid servant, they will not lift the broom. They will not clean the house. For 4 days, they will not clean the house. If the utensils are kept in the basin in the night, only when next day 12 o'clock the maid will come, then only they will get clean. They'll keep stinking in the sink, and the cockroach will start coming. So hygiene is gone. You're not bothered about hygiene of the house. And then telling, why should I be looking after hygiene of the house? Is this only my job? Come on, hygiene is not important in your life. Okay, you tell your husband to do it. They go and become the breadwinner. Take the responsibility of earning. That they don't do. So you just can't be playing around. And today what has happened is there is no external influence, the family influence. People have gone their own life. They don't listen to anyone. They don't respect elders. They don't want to follow those rules. They call them archaic and outdated. So they will all talk like that. But ultimately, what are you achieving? You have broken your family life. You lost your peace of mind. You become a mental wreck over a period of time. And then a situation comes when you will actually regret what you did, because all these karmas will catch up and you will regret what you did, because the time will come when you will really need those people will not be there for you, and then you will suffer and suffer and suffer. But still people will have ego and they will still suffer and still not accept it. So how many people really open up, and how many people do reverse engineering and transform themselves? Like in my class, first class I took in Warsaw, I had given an ad on Facebook. So I got 15-20 people in my class, and only those who want to learn from me and they liked, understood what I'm teaching and they were serious about it, they stayed in my class, and half of them left. So I was telling them that you are the one. The best thing is that you are the one who are willing to transform you, and you are the one who have realized that you have to work on yourself. You are the one who have realized there are a lot of flaws in yourself. So you are looking forward to improve your life. It's your life. If you want to improve your life, you have to work on yourself. And if you feel you will try to take advantage and be opportunistic, and they take these narratives to justify your karmas, narratives of liberation and feminism and woman power and woman liberation, women will rule, all this nonsense, then you are dividing the society. You are not there to live in cohesion and an integrated way. So I think I've tried to explain that what is more important is understanding each responsibility and how can you prioritize that, and within that can you have more freedom to do something, maybe a job or whatever it is. So you have to see each situation individually. But even you can say that you can work, but you have to understand, are you compromising with some of your main objectives of life? Your main objectives of life, is it only for your own self, and that you have to go to party, you have to work, and you have to do certain things only from your selfish point of view? Or is family more important, or you more important? So in this, when you get married, it's like you are embarking on a journey for those 20-25 years when a child is being brought up to give back to the society in that way as a family, and you have certain responsibilities. So you have to understand what are your priorities, what are your core responsibility. Can you compromise with that? If you feel you are not ready to take the responsibility, then you are a failure, I would say. Everybody has to be ready to take those responsibilities until unless you become a monk. So you have to understand what responsibilities are the next, and you have to be ready for that. It's not about running away from that. You have to be aware of those responsibilities, and you have to know your core responsibilities, and you have to understand that there can't be any compromise over there. And then only if you think by understanding this, then you will take the right decisions. It's not about trying to make someone happy. I'm not here to make somebody happy, a woman happy, or a man happy by agreeing with their partial agreements. You have to understand yourself. It's your life. You have to understand how the life moves, where it will go. You have to be visionary to see what all is needed in life. You have to understand, are you opportunistic or selfish? If you are selfish, if you don't recognize your selfishness and ego and the lust and greed and being opportunist, that's the main thing one has to understand. Are you opportunist? What is your contribution to the family? So if this is understood, thought of well, deliberated, brainstormed, then your life will be on track. Otherwise, the society is collapsing. Thank you.